top 1s just aren't as exciting as they used to be. I started playing the game when Tartarus was top 1, before the Golden temporarily dethroned it, so there's either only been a few top 1s since then, or a lot depending on what you count as being top 1. So it's not like I was there to witness the verification of Bloodlust or something, but I did get to watch the Geometry's history after the fact. I felt the impact of Zodiac being verified and other hard levels just by watching what happened online, mostly YouTube videos or listening to videos about them. And they were amazing. I feel like Bloodlust was the first top 1 that was the top 1. Before that, levels seemed to just come and go, replacing each other as the hardest. I couldn't tell you the order of top 1s between Succubin Hell, Artificial Ascent, Stalemate Redux, Digital Ascent, Yatagarasu, Sonic Wave, and any other random extreme demon that was number 1 at some point. But Bloodlust is where things got real, verifications got big, and levels would hold their crown for long periods of time. Bloodlust was top 1 for over a year, which surprisingly wasn't even as long as it took to verify it. Zodiac is an amazing top 1. I still think of it as one of the best Geometry levels of all time. It's hard to express just how iconic this level is, especially since it was so different. It was such a great time for the community, it seemed. Technical's kind of verification. It's such an interesting story. Then we got Tartarus, the top 1 to end all top 1s, I guess. It really does feel like the end of a saga in GD history. It's just accessible enough that if you really put effort into the game, I think you can beat it. It's right at the line of skill and talent. It stood at the top for nearly 1.5 years. There were many levels trying to dethrone it, but just nothing could. That is until one of the most controversial things in the history of this game happened: Slaughterhouse's verification. I'm sure you know exactly why that was controversial and completely shocking. Not at first, but it does change its story a lot. Slaughterhouse is an incredible level, I think. It seems like most people agree, it really feels like a top 1. It's extremely intimidating. The gameplay was unbelievable at the time. It pushed Wave to limits I don't think people even considered being possible, but it was proven to be. And not to mention that this had 2 other levels that could have taken its place. This was rated along with Firework and Arcturus, and people had no idea what was going to be number 1. This is an exciting top 1. Again, many levels would attempt to dethrone it, but nothing could. After a lot of verifications and switching some levels around, Acheron would prove to be the first level harder than Slaughterhouse. This level is interesting. I think most of the levels so far have interesting backstories and iconic verifications, but Acheron doesn't really. It's just the sequel, but not actually a sequel to Tartarus. And the verification was by some guy named Zoink. Personally, I'd never heard of him until he got to the last wave on the level. It sort of just popped up, and most of the hype around it was just that it finally took Slaughterhouse's place. And after that, we had Avernus. Avernus was the industry plan of top 1s. Zoink was basically just asked to buff it to make sure it was top 1. And he already held the top 1 level for a long time, so this wasn't hard for him to do at all. And again, it just popped up. Avernus was well known itself, but the fact it was top 1 and being verified by Zoink kind of just happened. Almost everybody hated it upon its release as well. It was infamous for having fixed hitboxes and never getting a victor for a very long time. Next was Tidal Wave, which I think did have more hype around it preceding its final verification. It was being talked about as a new top 1, and it was the first top 1 I saw get verified live, which was cool. This is when the difficulty of this game was really being pushed to its limits. It took the guy who already had the top 2 nearly 50,000 attempts to beat it. 3 minutes, high CPS, 200 frame perfects. It's the definition of difficulty. This, I do think, is a fairly exciting top 1. Maybe we will get more interesting stories behind these levels again, and we were just in a dry spell since Slaughterhouse. I mean, the content side of this stuff has been pretty high recently. The grief updates from Doggy are great. The verification has been going on for over a year now, and people are still very excited for it. TS2 and Amethyst were verified on the same day, which is pretty amazing, and we even got TS2 the movie. What worries me now is just that it won't be stable. This is something that's been talked about a bit recently, but these levels are getting too hard for these players. It took 5 months after verification for Trick and Pop-Off to beat Tidal Wave, and over a year after that for Cervax to beat it, and that's Tidal Wave. These other levels like Amethyst and Grief seem to be much harder. Now, okay, this has happened before. I just told you about how Bloodlust took over a year to verify, but obviously that wasn't a problem. So what's different now? Well, I don't know, actually. Only one of them is rated and it's still very new. One of them might just not get rated, and the last is still in the verification process. So what the top players are going to do with these things is questionable. Maybe they'll be able to beat these levels quicker than anybody would think, or maybe these levels really will go victorless for a long time. I don't want that to happen, because I'd be worried people would only care to verify their level, and talk about beating a level that's already been verified just wouldn't be a thing. I mean, that's an oversimplification and extreme version of this possibility, and there will of course always be people to beat whatever levels are on the list, but it seems to require so much time and energy for just one completion that grinding top levels is just going to become unreasonable. I feel like it's too much. Players will put everything they have into a level so that's the hardest it can be, but how can it be expected for someone to match that for multiple list levels? And what are players going to do after doing everything they can to beat the hardest level possible? Do more? Players will of course get better, but it feels like there's not being any room left to grow. Maybe none of this is true, and players will just get better like usual and this won't be a problem. It's just the current skill ceiling, not a permanent one. We'll just have to see with time. Maybe people will keep climbing this absolutely insane ladder of difficulty. It does inspire me a bit. No matter how much people improve, how many times the ceiling is met, what kind of insane ideas are attempted, everything can be pushed just a bit further. Even if top ones aren't how they used to be, they'll continue to be more and more incredible. It's in their nature.